And we are live. I'm here with Robert Whittaker. Robert, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine.
You broke a few British hearts recently, but I have to say, it's impossible not to love Bobby Knuckles.
No, you know what? Yeah, it was a tough fight. It was an honourable fight though. So like we both went in there. We left our hearts out there. I know I have a lot of fans up in Britain and England, and I'm very proud of it because I consider it's us against the world, right?
Exactly. There was phenomenal feedback for this interview, so I can confirm to you that you've still got a lot of British fans. But congratulations. It was an amazing fight. It was, I mean, you've both talked at length about it being like a chess match. I really liked the analogy that you used on the UFC Unfiltered podcast with like previous fights have been like rock, paper, scissors. And this time you were kind of both the rock, and it was like the battle of who was going to
Yeah.
win out of you both being rocks.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was hoping that analogy made sense to people because it made sense to me up in my head. But yeah, it was like that. It was like we were both pitching our strengths, which were the same as each other's strengths against each other. So we were trying to create weaknesses and holes to exploit, on the go, on the fly, and it was just a tricky fight.
It was. And like, I feel like the tension was building for such a long time leading up to the fight. We were all so excited when it got announced. We knew it was going to be, well, we hoped it was going to be amazing, and it obviously did deliver. But there's a lot of tension involved. You were coming off of a loss. You both had a lot to prove out there. Both had a lot of respect for each other. Um, but then the tension seemed to go all the way through the fight. We could feel it even watching it. So what was it like to be in there?
Yeah, it was just. Sorry, let me turn that off. It was just a very like tension, stressful sort of fight. There was a lot of thinking involved. There was a lot of like tactical decisions on the fly, on the go that were made. Um, Honestly, as stressful as I say it was, and as tactical as it was so much fun. It was a fun fight. It was. I feel like it was a fight that we both grew from because those fights push your mental ability further than normal fights, and as well as those fights make the next time you encounter this a little bit easier.
Yeah. I feel like the tension as well comes from knowing that like one mistake is all it would take. And then in that first round,
Yeah,
obviously you found
yeah,
yourself in a very tricky situation.
yeah, 100%. That's exactly as you said. It's like one mistake and you pay for it, and I paid for it trying to do that leaping hook in the beginning. I like that move. I like that hook. He just knew it was coming. It just dropped an elbow on my chin. It is what it is.
And let's talk about the knee stomps. Obviously, you've been on the wrong end of them,
Yeah, yeah.
and now you've been dishing them out as well.
Yeah. So no, I copped it, and ever since then, I was like, these aren't bad. So now I just start throwing them to other people.
And what are your feelings on them? Would you like them taken out of the game, or now that
I,
you've kind of mastered them yourself, you want to keep on throwing them?
to be fair, I'm happy for them to be taken out, but only if they bring back like other stuff like soccer kicks and downed opponent kicks and longer rounds, that sort of thing.
Funny enough, that was one of the questions that we had from a viewer sent in. If you could change one rule in MMA, what would it be? So yours would
Um,
be soccer kicks.
that's hard, one rule. Cause I like 10-minute rounds. I reckon 10 minutes rounds would be pretty sweet. So I don't know. I'm on the fence with 10-minute rounds or soccer kicks, but
Where
it's
do you
hard to say.
stand on headbutts?
Yeah, headbutts are fine if you want to do it. Why not? I don't think like that wouldn't be up there on my first priorities to try and get past, you know, because I don't really like headbutting people. So it seems like a two for you, one for me sort of arrangement with that technique.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like, you know, the way that Thai people, Thai fighters prepare their legs by kicking trees. Maybe you just have to go around headbutting them
Yeah,
for a
but
while.
I don't want my head I don't want to go around with my head looking like my leg. You know?
True, fair point, fair point. The interviews that I've seen you do since the fight, you seem so relaxed and happy and just like in a really, and relieved as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, I am. I'm really happy. I'm really, really happy. I'm still in isolation, so I haven't seen my family yet, and that's eating away at me. But
Yeah,
I'm really happy right now, though. Like I'm enjoying the game. I'm enjoying the aspects of the game. I'm enjoying the media. I'm enjoying the training. I'm enjoying the boys, like the team. Everything is just honestly, I'm just enjoying life, and I think that's a huge part of just enjoying this career that is quite stressful at times. You have to
yeah.
enjoy it, you know. You have to take the fun out of it, and the fun's back in the game, and I'm just really having a good time. Certainly, coming off a win helps.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And talk to me about that stress and like you said you called it burnout, but just like do you think that was something that came with being the champion and all the obligations that go with that, or was that just being in camp after camp? What do you think
um,
caused that?
I think it was a combination of just of not changing things up to that point. So just keeping the same training for about 6 years. You know, you do anything for a prolonged period of time as to wear away. Absolutely in love with it the whole time. But even then, you do the same thing you love every day for 6 years. You get sick of it. You want to change things up.
Yeah,
So I think it was a combination of a whole host of things. One being that, two being like the hard fights with Yol. They were hard fights. So coming out of those, and then like there was a little bit of stress around the second fight as well, like with him not making weight, and then not
yeah.
knowing if he was going to fight, and all the other stuff that came with it. And then the fight itself was a nightmare. That was a hard fight. So I think like a combination of that, and then as well as being the champ, the added media, the hype around the fight, the attention I received in Australia. Like I think it's just a whole host of things, you know, and not letting myself properly relax, properly
Yeah.
step aside from the game, and just enjoy that. So
So how do you overcome that?
let's have a break. You know, I had a break before while I was trying to find myself, I guess, and
Yeah,
I learned a lot about myself. And now, like breaks are breaks. Breaks aren't just for your body, but more so for your head, right?
yeah,
So breaks are really important to step away from all that. Uh, Two, I enjoy the game. You have to enjoy. You have to keep it interesting. You have to keep it fun. Fun's a big thing for me. I know fun is a term that's like, you know, sometimes it's very like childish sometimes when people say, but I have to have fun when I'm doing what I'm doing. Fun will get me there. Fun will
yeah.
keep me there, you know, and that to me is a big thing. So we like, I don't know, the coaches, like we all brainstorm. I told them how I feel, they told me how they feel, and we just came to this conclusion. Like we just worked little things out. We added little things, took little things out, and you know, all the training is just fun. I'm having fun with everything again.
Yeah, you certainly look like you do. Was there any point where you considered not coming back?
That's the thing with my break, and then and I think like if you in a position where you're burnt out and you need to do it properly, is that you can't have a break knowing you'll come back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because then you're not really away from it. And that's how all my
Mm,
breaks were prior to that. Like they were just like, okay, I'll fight in November, but I'll have a break now. So you're not completely taking yourself out of the game. And this time, like I knew I had to do this properly, otherwise it'll just drag out and I'll be here again in a year's time or 6 months time or after the next fight. So I didn't know if I'd come back. I didn't know what I was going to do, which is scary in itself. I stepped aside, and then, you know, fortunately enough, it led me back here.
yeah. I'm always really pleased when people, especially at the kind of high profile level you are really honest about those experiences. And, you know, people like Rose Namajunas saying that she was quite relieved when she lost the belt. And even Till, when he said that, you know, before his
Mm,
Kelvin Gastelum fight, he felt like just not going
yeah.
out into the ring. And I think it's really important for people to know that you guys are human.
Yeah, 100% more than anything else.
Well, we're really glad that you're back in a great place, and so much so that you've signed up for or agreed to another fight already with
Yeah.
Derek Cannonier.
Yeah. That should be a great fight. I was fortunate enough to come out of that fight with no injuries. So I wanted to get another fight before the end of the year, preferably before Christmas, so I could enjoy Christmas and New
Yeah.
Year's. It's a big thing for me to enjoy that with my family. So and then so no injuries. Fight around October. Yeah, why not? There's enough time. There's plenty of time. It's not rushed. Yeah, I'll do it. Why not?
So that means straight back into fight camp for you, though, presumably.
More or less. Like there's still plenty of time, and the good thing about it being close but not too close is that during this 2 weeks like break I'm given, I can't get too fat. I can't I can't I can't get too unfit, which is great. I won't be starting from scratch again, so that's a good thing.
You obviously don't binge eat like me. I could
Oh,
certainly manage it in 2 weeks.
I trust me. It's like I'm trying. It's like I'm trying to get fat. Like there are nights I'm laying in bed with like packets of chips and I'm just eating for the sake of it. I can't sleep on my belly. I'm that full.
Or sometimes you're like, I just need this to go down so I can eat something else.
Oh, I'm not even hungry anymore. I just keep eating.
But the Cannonier fight's going to be pretty different to any of the last few fights that you've trained for. What do you think that he poses that's different to what you've seen before, and what are you looking out for?
He obviously has a good skill set, like a great skill set. He's in the top five, right? But I think biggest attributes is just that he hits like a truck and he's
Yeah.
tough and resilient and athletic. Like and that in itself is very, very dangerous. So but like I'm not too worried about it really, because I'm not worried about any fight because I think I'm better than everybody else for one.
Yeah.
But on paper, I think I'm better than Jared across the board. I've got better striking, grappling, cardio, stamina, strength, power. I think I'm better than him across the board. Um, it's more about this fight's going to be about trying to lead the dance and not getting hit by his big hands.
Not getting hit. Just it sounds so easy when you say it like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Simple game plan. Don't get hit.
Let me go to a few of the fan questions. Glenn said that you said the Till fight was a chess match. How was his striking compared to Adesanya? And how do you think that fight would go if Till ever fought Adesanya?
I'd be very curious about that fight because they're both sort of kickboxers, so I think it'd be very interesting. Honestly, with Adesanya, it's hard to say because I feel I could have done better with Adesanya, but I'm not going to take anything away from him. He turned on that night, I did not, and that's how it was. But I think I could have done better. It's hard to say. I was in a much better place for this Till fight than I was for Adesanya. Styles
Yeah.
make fights. It's hard to say.
I think that's why people respect you so much, because you never make excuses, and clearly you've got strong feelings on how you were feeling going into that fight and how that impacted your performance, but you're always very quick to say that you're not
Yeah, well,
discounting anything that he did that night.
because like sometimes you have a bad night's sleep and you go to think like there's always an excuse just there. There's always an excuse just there, and that's just the game. Sometimes you're going to go into fights and feel terrible. The camp was terrible and perform great, and sometimes vice versa. That's just the game. That's why it's a tricky beast.
True. One from Danny Bruff. In your ideal scenario, what does the next 18 months look like in regards to opponents and venues? Venues, I guess, might be a little bit out of your hands.
Yeah. So no idea about venues. Like the world's crazy right now. Fight Cannonier in October, and then fight someone again in March, April. That sounds good for me.
So you want to stay active?
Yeah, 100%. I'm enjoying the game. I want to just get better. I need to put my skills to the test against these hard opponents. I need to see where I can go, and no, I think I'm enjoying it.
We talked about it a lot within the team. Did you feel like you deserved an immediate title match after beating Till?
I've never really thought about it. Like, I don't. Yeah, I've never really thought about it. Like, my whole mindset going into like moving through the ranks the first time to the belt was just you line them up, I'll knock them down, and you win enough fights, you'll be on top. And that's my mentality here as well. It's like got to beat them all anyway. Got to knock them all down anyway. And if I just keep winning, I'll eventually there'll be no one left.
Yeah. Well, you certainly haven't taken any easy routes. That's for sure. Another question from Danny. I heard you talking about on UFC Unfiltered about being a bit of a gamer.
Yeah.
What computer games were you playing throughout the camp for Till, and what's next on the list for the next camp? He also said if you're any good on Warzone, add him, but if you're rubbish, don't bother.
For the camp with Till, I was playing just my standard like Elder Scrolls Online. Love that game. Escape a little bit, makes the cut a little bit easier. It's always a great fun. And in terms of Warzone, yeah, like I'm pretty good. Don't want to brag, but I'll win just about every game. Probably won't add you. Probably won't add you, but because you'll hold me back.
Sorry, Danny. One from Craig D. Hi, Rob. What did you learn from the Adesanya fight, and what changes have you made in camp?
The changes were nothing drastic, just like small changes and a lot of them. It's very hard for me to go into and list them. Like some of them were just times. Some of them were just times and days we did things, moved to other days. It's hard to say. Plus, like with the corona that spread around the world, everything had to change anyway. Like, all the times got shifted anyway. So it's too much to list. So, but you can put the pieces together from there. And with Adesanya, like I learned more about the process leading into the fight than I did about myself in the actual fight, because I believe I wasn't there. I wasn't fighting the way I usually do. I wasn't all there with that fight. So you get but the result, like the fight was a result of the process leading into the octagon. It was getting there. It was a camp, and I learned a lot about myself and just how I was doing things, getting there, and then post fight.
Okay. I feel bad asking this, but do you see yourself competing against Darren Till again down the road? Do you get any extra incentive to run that back eventually, with people making the argument for Till winning the fight? Now, you had the rematch with Yoel Romero, and the first thing Joe Rogan asked you was if there would be a third fight.
Yeah.
How do you feel about rematches when you've won the first one?
It was a tough fight. Like, I don't want to do it right now. Like I'm sure we can run it back another time. Like, we're roughly about the same age, aren't we? And so we're both pretty young in the game still, so we've got plenty of time. I'm sure we'll run it back one day, but like there's plenty of other people to fight right now.
Yeah. How tough is it to go back into camp for the same person?
Oh, gets repetitive.
Yeah.
And it's tricky. It is tricky. It's different. It's different.
Yeah, fair enough. And one thing I wanted to ask you about fighting Darren was the fact that he's such a nutter on social media. What was it like to be on the end of Rob, like every half an hour for months?
Yeah. You know what though? It's like, I think that would get to me if I spent more time on socials. So like I use my socials as a way to just keep all my fans and friends and everybody updated with what's going on with me and what I'm doing, because they're interested in that stuff. But like I'm not on it all the time talking to people and doing stuff like that, which is probably to my detriment as much as it is as a blessing, right? Whereas Darren's on it all the time. I remember he put up a post that was funny. I thought it was funny. I actually like his humor. I think it's like an Australian English thing.
Yeah.
Like we get the humor, whereas like all the other guys they don't get it and they think we're putting it on them. But I understand he's just taking a piss. So he puts up posts and stuff like that. And I was like, one day I just saw it and I was like, oh, okay, I'll put up one too. And then like within 20 minutes he hit me back up with another one. And I was like, I can't play this game, bro. Like, for one, I'm not ashamed to say I'll lose this game because you are on. Like this is your realm, and I don't want a piece of it. So I just was like, that was me, and I bowed out.
With him, I don't know if any of it's mind games or if he just finds it hilarious. And when he's bored in camp, that's his way of dealing with it.
Yeah, I think he just has a bit of fun with it. I think he actually finds it interesting and has a bit of a laugh with it. I think like the fact that it gets under some guy's skin is like just a bonus. But I think he just enjoys it.
Mike Perry hasn't taken it very well.
Yeah, I don't think he understands us very well.
Glenn wants to know if you've unblocked Phil from Instagram.
Yeah.
You blocked him at one point.
No. It's funny. It's funny that people pick that up. So yeah, because I followed him before it, and because I find him funny and like he's a cool dude, so I followed him. But then like every time I jump on Insta, there's something he's putting up. There's something he's putting up. It's his bloody face every time I fucking turn my phone on, and I just at that point I was like, man, we're about to fight in a month. I can't keep staring at you every time, so I just blocked him so that his bloody face doesn't show up on my feed every day. But yeah, I've unblocked him since then. He knows, or Glenn William knows. He knows.
I think it was really nice, actually, the kind of friendliness between you two and the respect you had for each other. And it just goes to show that you don't need to trash talk each other or some of his posts could be deemed trash talking, I guess, but he's very honest about the fact that he really respects you and likes you. And I think, you don't have to sell fights by, abusing each other or throwing things at each other.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I think because we're under the spotlight, it's our duty to be good role models and good examples.
Yeah. MMA Funny wants to know the funniest thing that happened on The Ultimate Fighter, the smashes.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like I can really remember that. That's so far long ago. I don't know. Probably when the boys were snorting wasabi. That was pretty funny. Like, that was a terrible thing to do, idiots. Otherwise, I don't know. There are a lot of little funny moments, but there's nothing that just screams at me above and beyond.
It wasn't one of the most horrible series. Like when I look back on some of the stuff that's happened in the Tough House and people peeing in each other's beds and gloves.
Yeah. No, and that's good. If someone peed in my bed, like I'll probably try and stab him in their sleep. like, I'm not playing.
Whenever I watch it, I just say to my husband, I could never live in that house. What was it like to be in that house?
Terrible. I hated it. I hated every second of it. Absolutely.
That doesn't surprise me to hear at all.
No.
So both you and Till said that due to the skills of both fighters and each other's tactics, your recent fight was very stressful. Considering this, what other fights have come close to that level of stress, and what future opponent would you expect to have similar frustrations with?
Probably Adesanya again, if I run it back with him. In terms of like any other fight, I don't think at the top of my head, no other fight comes close to the stress and like mental game that was with Till. Either nothing comes to mind, or I can't remember exactly like how some of the fights felt, because I don't know, they all blur into one. I don't take a lot of stock into it.
Yeah. And was it just because of the opponent and the type of fight it was, or was it coming off of a loss as well that made it more pressurized?
No, well, that definitely added pressure coming off a loss. Like there's always those thoughts. You don't want to be that guy who loses his belt and just becomes a washout, and let alone you don't want to lose twice. You don't want to. You don't want to lose twice. It's terrible, especially after you've changed everything or you've changed a lot of things in your camp and how you're doing things. It's then have a loss. It just makes you second guess everything. It's just terrible. So, but all that is self-imposed, right? So I guess I had a lot of self-imposed stress. Um, mm,
Yeah, I feel like that's, even though Darren is the Brit and we were rooting for him in that regard, that's why people are so happy for you and just like so pleased to see you this happy afterwards. It's really, really good to see.
yeah, thank you.
James Hamilton wants to know, after the wars with Romero, do any big hitters worry you, especially as most don't have his wrestling? I guess
Uh,
this
yeah, I
is
guess
hardest.
big hitters are always a worry, and more so if they don't wrestle and they have more focus on the striking. Like Cannonier is going to be dangerous just because of that fact.
Yeah.
He's a big hitter, but he's probably got better striking than Romero, and he's definitely taller with longer reach. So it's worrying. But I guess honestly, everybody in the middleweight division hits hard.
Yeah.
Everyone hits hard, and we wear such small gloves. It doesn't take much. You just take one accurate shot on the chin, you're out. It's done. This game. But I guess I'll let you guys in on the secret to MMA and to becoming a
Please
champ.
do.
It's don't get hit. That's it. That's the secret. That's the secret. Don't get hit. You don't get hit, and you'll go very, very far, guys.
I heard you say something. I find you really insightful to listen to in interviews. Actually, you said something else about the middleweight division that I 100% agreed with, and it's like the middleweight division is the perfect balance between people who have that power, but people still have the speed and the agility, and
Yeah.
that's so true.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I wish I was taller and bigger so I could go to heavyweight. try, try to slow things down a bit.
Well, going up a weight class did work out well for you. So.
Yeah, but I'm too short now. I'm barely tall enough for this division. Like, and my arms aren't long enough. I need to grow a couple of inches and get some longer arms.
I'll try and cover these questions quickly. You're a very popular guy. Would you like to have the opportunity to fight in London again? Oh,
Good
sorry,
God.
I choked you.
Would you hottest unknown MMA stars? Okay, yeah, this is an easy one because they're in my team. Jacob Malkoon just got signed with the UFC. Hopefully, he'll be fighting in the same card later this month. Not this month, but later in the year. Hopefully, he'll be on the same card. So he's the first one in my team to get signed, and he is legit. He'll be top 10. Mark my words. He'll be top 5 probably. I'm happy he's on my team. All right, put it that way.
Wow, I'm going to hunt him down for an interview then.
Yeah. So he's legit. He's very good. He's very good. Izzy Fitikefu is another guy that's just tearing up the scene down here. He's a hop and a skip away from the UFC as well. He's got that knockout power, relentless pressure, and honestly, I've never seen anyone train as much as him, ever. Like, it's ridiculous. So those two boys are the closest into the UFC right now. One's already in, and then the rest of my team, we're just breeding them up. They're coming up, and we've got a real small team, but they're all legit. Everybody in the team is there to make a career out of this game, out of this sport, and yeah, you'll see, you'll start to see them.
Amazing. Rob Cunningham said, are there any fighters you looked up to before making it to the UFC? And if you could fight anyone past or present, who would it be?
Yeah, I didn't really. Probably like if I had to pick one fighter I looked up to, probably George St. Pierre. That guy's phenomenal. Like, I think he was a great role model for the sport. Got a great role model as a person, and just like he was a true athlete and martial artist. So he would have to be him. And if I could fight anyone past or present, I don't want to fight anyone. Like, if I don't have to fight, I'm not gonna. It's like, I'm not gonna just fight for fun. That seems silly. Like, this is my job. It's like a plumber going to your house to fix things for free. It's like, that's it. Why? And if I And if I am going to get paid for the fight, then I'll fight someone that's real easy,
Easy.
like bad easy. Like, I don't know, maybe a straw weight woman. Like, and just try to keep her at the outside so I don't get clipped.
This was another thing Till said about you on Bisping's podcast was, I hope the worst Rob Whittaker turns up. I don't understand people who say, I want to be the best version of them. I hope the worst one there's ever been of him turns
I was
up.
hoping Till would break his foot on the way to the ring. You know what I mean? Like, I hope he got food poisoning and everything else that happened. But yeah, I'm very much on his side for that. We're going to war. We're going to fight. I don't want you to be better than you need to be. Like, I hope you're sick when I fight you so I can smash you.
This 100% makes sense to me. I've never understood people who say, I want to beat the best version.
Yeah, they're nutters. That's why.
One last question before I let you go. Who's going to win in the Adesanya Costa fight, do you think?
Hard to say. Costa's got a big X factor. He's got chin, power, cardio. He's just explosive. He's a dangerous fighter. But I think if I was a betting man, I'd go Adesanya. He's just got a great skill set. I think he can just edge it out.
Amazing. And who would you most like to fight in the rematch? The easier guy.
They're both killers, right? But I guess the only one I have any sort of feeling for is I'd like to run it back with Adesanya. That's about it.
Well, Rob, I certainly think that you're going to be a champ again in the not so distant future. And even though it would mean fighting him again, I'd love to see that fight with Till again. Thank you I know it was stressful for both of you guys, but for the fans, it was a real treat. And thank you again for your time tonight. Stay happy, stay healthy, and can't wait for your next fight.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Rob.